and stories in their effort to promote sustainability, especially in environmental sustainability. We aim to promote sustainable practices, inspiring positive actions, and encouraging continuous learning in the field of sustainability. Today, we are honored to have with us a remarkable guest who has been doing amazing work within the climate space. And she is in the person of Faustina Abbey. So Faustina has nearly a decade in marketing experiences. She joined United Way Ghana in 2009 and now serves as the impact and operations lead. With over 13 years of experience, she has led diverse projects, collaborating with stakeholders to bring about positive change, from disaster relief to promoting literacy and advocating for education accessibility in her community and developing background guides, effective program planning. So outside of her work, she's an enthusiastic volunteer and likes supporting the underserved children within her community. So before we start our conversation with Faustina, I would want us to acknowledge our supporting partners. We have 10 Billion Strong, and 10 Billion Strong is a leadership development organization focused on environmental sustainability. We have Wiki Updates. They are currently hosting us on Zoom. It's a podcast, and if you want to know more about what is happening within the Wikimedia ecosystem, kindly Google Wiki Updates for more information. We also have Wiki Green Initiative. They are the organizers for Wiki Green conferences. So you may want to look out for their next conference that will be coming up next year. You'd want to follow us, Women for Sustainability, on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on X. You may also want to join our WhatsApp group as well. If you wish to support us or partner with us, you feel free to contact us on 027005346 or connect with us on all our social media handles at Women for Sustainability Africa. Today, we are having an interesting conversation, as I did mention earlier, about building sustainable city. And we have right here with us Faustina Abbey. Faustina, we are so happy to have you today.
I'm also happy to be here with you today.
Yes, we are going to learn a lot. I believe this area is new to most of us, and I believe that today we are going to be educated, which is also going to help us in taking decisions. Okay, it's meant to taking decisions for our community, even for ourselves and our families as well. So Faustina, happy to have you once again. You may want to tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got into this space.
All right. So back in SHS, I did visual arts, and then I also did some marketing at the tertiary level. But I realized that my passion was really into helping people, in the sense that ensuring that communities are developed. People are produce also in life. So I realized, okay, so is there a way I can go into that field to see what I can do to support in that area? So I joined an NGO, as a volunteer, and then through that we realized, okay, this is my calling. I really have to do something in community development. That's how I ended up being where I am today.
Oh, nice. Looking at your background, you said you started with marketing.
And then I moved to social work, yes, as a volunteer, and then I'm really deeply into it now.
Okay, so that's what has gotten you into the sustainability.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Okay. So currently, what's your role about? What are you doing?
All right. So my role, I'm the impact lead as United Began, and what I do is that I develop solutions to community issues. So, for instance, I go to a community and then I do assessment to find out what their issues are, and then based on assessment and also the baseline information side, I'm able to come up with ideas with my team on what we can do to support communities that I need. And one key thing that runs through our program is that we'll not be here every time. So how do we ensure that our programs are sustained? So we take sustainability as a key component of our work. So anything that we do, if we are no more there, how can it still provide impact to people's lives? Yeah.
Okay, so being in your space as a woman too, how has it been?
Sometimes it's tough because you would really want to go deep into some of the things, but some communities will be like, no, we want to discuss things with men and not women. So sometimes you really have to adjust to adapt to these things and then see the best way out. Because if the men in the community leadership positions are not willing to discuss with you on what you can do together to support communities, it becomes challenging. So sometimes you just have to lay back and find a better way to get your voice out there to be heard and bring your ideas on what you can do to support the communities that you want to serve. So sometimes it's tough, but you really have to push through to get through it.
As a woman, so the men when they go through, you mean they do not have such experience?
All right, so this is what happens. Sometimes in the Muslim communities, sometimes they don't really want to hear the voices of women because they believe that the women are supposed to support the men, so that the men will be at the front line, the women will be at the back. So if you want to meet with the leaders of some communities which are Islamic or Muslim centered, and they would not really want to talk to you because they think that the man should lead, the woman to follow. So initially, in my initial stages, I really had challenges with dealing with such people. But through experience, I found a way that for such meetings, there has to be a man in there who would be the meeting with you. So at least once discussions are ongoing, they will know that you are in there with a man to support anything you are saying. But if you just go in there as a woman, telling them what to do and what to say, sometimes they feel that they don't have to take directives from women. But with time, it's changing, and I believe that as time goes on, there will be a time when women can go all out there to discuss issues with men and come up with solutions that will help the entire community as a
I see. So I think this is a cultural, um, like challenge,
whole. Yes,
background barrier,
yes,
a cultural barrier.
yes, it's a barrier in the past, but as I mentioned to you, as time is moving on, things are changing, and now the men are realizing that women also have a voice, that they also have to speak to bring solutions to issues. So right now, it's not as it used to be 10 years ago. Right now, at least I'm able to talk to them at meetings, and they are able to hear my voice. But initially, they will not even allow you to come close to them because you have to be at the background while the men stand at the front line to initiate activities.
Okay, so for you, you were able to overcome that by always getting a man in to assist you together. Then you can take the platform, and you've built good relationship with them. So I
Yes.
think that's why they're able to. Okay, so
Yeah.
in your times of volunteering, as you mentioned, what exactly were you volunteering? Like, what were you doing?
All right. So my volunteering started in the office. So I was more or less the admin assistant. So I was in the
And were you
office.
being paid? You can add that. Were you being
As
paid?
a volunteer, you are not paid, but you are given an allowance for your TNT, but not really being paid as a salary worker. So I was more or less in the office assisting with administrative activities. So like minutes writing, typing, and doing reporting, supporting people to do reports on their projects. And then with time, I was able to move on to a higher role by now leading projects, ensuring that I'm at the front line to help to design projects and also help to implement them. And then with time, I also moved to the area where I now oversee all projects in the company now. So I work with the team to go to communities to do assessment to find out, okay, so what are the issues that we have here? And sometimes this is what happens. If you go to a community and then find an issue, in solving that issue, you rather create more issues for them. So the question is, how do you solve an issue without creating bigger issues for the community? So all these things also come to play. That in the discuss with the community, let them know that you are there to support. Let them know that you are there to work with them to collaborate. So at least you can bring solutions to the community's issues. And if you go in there thinking that I have done this in Kumasi, so I'm good, so I can do the same thing to in less in Volta region, you will end up failing because every community has its own unique issues and you can't replicate the same thing everywhere else. So once you are going to a new community, though you have the experience, you really have to go down to their levels to really understand what their issues are. Let them see you, let them also trust you. And then once you collaborate with them, they are able to come fully on board to collaborate with you to bring solutions to the issues. And once you get their buy-in, it becomes easier for you because they now own the projects and they give you all their support. So even if you leave, they're able to sustain it to ensure that this project brings out more impact to support more lives in the community.
Okay, so they have a sense of belonging because you're able to add them to the decision making. So just to know more. So when you are taking such decisions with a community, which people actually lead or take their decisions in terms of male and female? What's the percentage?
The percentage, I can boldly say that for all the community engagements we've had with the leaders, we've had about 80% of them being men.
80.
Yes, because in most communities, the elders and leaders are men, and they have a few women in there who also come in there to support decision making. And so we ensure that for all discussions that we have, we bring the men on board at the entry. We bring the women on board at the entry point, and then so this is what we do. We see a community, let's say in Eastern region, which is identified as an underserved community, which have issues. You may have an idea of what their issues are, but once you get in there, you have to do your business assessment to know that what you know and what you see are light. And once that is certain, what you do is that you now engage the chiefs and community leaders and queen mothers just to discuss, to understand their situation better. And once you ask them what the issues are, they tell you. Then you ask them that, has there been any opportunity for them to collaborate with other people to solve those issues? Or somebody also ask them, do they see this as an issue for them? And once we all agree that this is an issue for the community, then we now discuss with them on the best way forward we can bring solutions to the issues we identify. Once we are done with them, we now go to the community itself to engage the community members in a conversation. So for that one, we have control over who comes into that discussion. So we ensure that we get majority of them to be women because based on our experience in the field, realize that once you are able to empower a woman, I have heard those being said by Agri that once you educate a woman, you educate a whole nation. Even
Yeah.
in my line of work in communities, once you are able to empower a woman, what happens is that this woman, the children that she has, they all go to her for support. And the men, though they support, but sometimes they do that on the sideline. And once the woman is able to understand the work that are bringing to her, then you also get her buy-in. Then she's also willing to be at your disposal to make sure that whatever you have in plan for them comes to pass. We have had situations where we engage men and women in training, and for the first day or two, they are all in there. But as we are getting to the end of the training program, the men drop off and the women still are there. And once we are done with them, we give them the equipment to start their businesses. The women are able to do more than the men because the women see this as something that they really desire to have. So once it is a desire that you give it to them, they are able to embrace it very well and then do everything possible to sustain it. And once they are getting money, they're also able to take care of their children who come to them for support in various ways. So I can say on authority that once you invest your resources into a woman, the return on investment is higher than when you do that with men. Because the men, they are limited with what they really want to do. They'll be like, no, I'm a man and I can't go to this skills area. But the woman is willing to explore, to find ways and means to get a skill that can help her to gain some money to take care of the family. So I really love it working with men, though there has to be a balance with all of them, actually.
Interesting. So that means at the end, this yes, we still have the woman's idea because you actually engage them as well on
Yeah,
the side.
yeah.
Okay, that's fine. So would you just want to tell us a little bit about what sustainable cities are building sustainable cities?
Okay, so
Recording in progress.
sustainability. Hello. Sustainability is a word that people don't really take into consideration when they are doing something. Uh, you can start something, everybody can start, you get it, but not everybody can end. And even those who end, the question is, are their projects able to outlive them? You get it? So, for instance, whenever you want to do anything, ask yourself, if I'm taken out of this project, can the project live without me? Once you are able to resolve that issue, then that means that you are working in a sustainable mindset. Because sometimes you see that people have businesses which are thriving, and once they die in the business in the hands of their children, the business collapses because they didn't really have a long-term plan so that the business can outlive them. So for everything that you do, so for instance, for our programming, we have this program we call the Economic Empowerment Program, which we run in communities. So what this thing does is that we go to communities and then we do our research and all that, then we find out a viable skill that we can train people in. So for example, if it is baking or let's say soap making, the training alone is enough, but if you really want to make a long-term impact, you have to go beyond just training. So as a training, how can a person convert their skills into a business? They'll need tools. So in order to ensure that everything that you're training the person in can be a long-term project, you have to provide the person with the tools after the training. Now the person also needs some coaching, guidance on how they can run the business. So I have the skill. If I don't know how to manage a business, that means that I will start today and by tomorrow my business will collapse. But if I want to really sustain that investment in that community, after I train you, I give you resources, I give you tools that you can easily work with. And then, if possible, if I have the right funding, I should be able to build a center for you. So at least there's a center where people can come for production, they can come for training, so that once the center is there and it's being run by you who have trained, you can train more people in the community. So if you've learned, if I come to, let's say, Akosomo, and I train two women on how to sew, and I leave, how do I leave them? I should be able to lead them with some tools and also a center where they can produce or they can sew garments for people and where they can also train people as well. So even if I leave, they can still train more people to learn how to sew in the community. So with time, we'll have more people in the community who are able to sew and earn some money from that skill. But if I just focus on just training two women and I'm done, I leave them, no coach, nothing. That means that though there was money invested in their lives, that money can't be recouped because it means that I only invested in them. And so if they move from Kosovo to, let's say, Kumasi, that means that the investment I made in Kosovo through, let's say, Amak or Akos, that means that investment has gone down the drain because they're moving out of the Kosovo to the different place. But once I have a trading center where Amber, who has been trained, cannot train other people, even if Amber leaves, she may have trained other people who are in the community who can also um, maintain the place so that more people can be trained and also create jobs for the community as well. And once jobs are being created, we are going to reduce the number of unemployed youth in that community. So if you are doing a project or anything that you do, think about it now. If I end, how can this project be sustained? So you have to put in plans of sustainability before you start. Don't wait till you are done. Then not be thinking, hey, I'm done. What's the next step for me? And if you don't have ideas at that time, that means that you will not be able to do anything to really preserve that impact. And sometimes too, if you know something, every time, once you involve the right stakeholders in the initial stages, they come on board with their plans. For all you know, someone has gone to the community to try a similar thing and it failed. So once you engage them, they can give you the guidance. Okay, so Tina or Amma, last year this person came to do a similar thing. These are the things that he or she faced, and because of that, the thing was not able to be successful. So since I'm with you in the planning stages, I think that if we go this way, we can overcome that challenge to make our program make our program successful. But if you think you know it all, you don't involve them, you go and plan in your office and go to their community to start implementing, do it this way, do it this way. They may just say yes to you, and then when the program's time is over, they are going, they'll just leave you out. They'll just leave you there for you to fail.
Hmm. Faustina, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. I'm here.
Okay, great. So is it possible to throw some light on some of the projects that have been run in some communities that failed, but maybe you went to a different community and it was successful?
Okay, so let me still go back to our economic empowerment program. So
What
initially,
program? Can you come again? I didn't get that.
economic empowerment,
Economic
youth
empowerment.
empowerment,
Okay.
youth empowerment. Yeah. All right. So initially, our plan was that okay, so people do not have skills. That is why they are unemployed. And once you give them the skills, they can thrive. So what we are doing was that we go to the communities, we train them on soap making, we train them on, let's say, baking, on beads craft and all that. Then once we are done, we encourage them, okay, so we have done our part. Now go out there and then look for some funds from friends and families to start a small business. And we'll come around to guide and see what you are doing is really being successful.
Yeah.
Realize that after the training, they all go back home and then you call them, oh, Auntie AC, how far? That is just to be like, oh, no, madam, please, I've not been able to secure any funds, so I'm still unemployed. So though you are trying to solve an unemployment issue, the person has been trained with the skill, but they are still not working because how do they work without tools? So it's okay. So then we have to do a 360 project implementation to ensure that that was how come we now train you. Then we give you the equipment to start your business. Then we even register your business for you. So at least you don't have any excuse as to why you should not work.
Mm.
So with this new approach, we are now being able to support people on the full 9 yards fabric and not just doing part of the impact for them to go and do.
Okay, so that means initially when you do like a half project, it doesn't get anywhere, it fails. So
It
now you have
fails.
to.
Okay, so a half project is more or less a partially baked bread. So though you have your mixture, you're doing everything in the oven, if you don't allow it to really get fully baked, you bring it out, you can't eat it. So though you have gotten funding, you have invested your time and your expertise to go to train the person, when the person does not see any way out, that means that you have really wasted your time. So the best way to ensure that the person is well equipped and doing well is to ensure that the person gets the required support they need. And the support will be in the form of training, in the form of tooling, as in equipping them with the skills they need and equipping them with the tools they need to work. And also be with them, coaching them, training them on how to manage their finances and all that. Because sustainability also has to do with funding or financing. If your business doesn't really have enough money to sustain itself, it will collapse. So, though the business is over, you have to think of ways to ensure that they have revenue running through their business to help them to or even expand and touch more lives in their homes and communities as well.
Great. So that's building a sustainable city. I'm sure someone is thinking somewhere it's about, building, construction, and
Oh,
building.
you know something,
All of it.
even if you build construction or if you build brick and mortar, and
Mhm.
there's no human capacity built in there, it will collapse because you need someone who has been trained and understands how to maintain the facility. Because without maintenance, the facility will even collapse. So stability is not just in physical structure, it is in the mindset. What do I do to keep this running? What do I do to ensure that what I'm doing now can outlive me? So even if I'm no more, it can still run consistently and not even having me to be there physically to manage things. And sometimes, not sometimes, every time to in even in our business in our business activities or transactions. If you have a business or you own or you are heading an organization, you don't have to be there every time for things to happen. You really have to build a team that is able to work without you being there to tell them what to do every time. They have to be able to think, to know what to do next, and not wait for you to come and say, okay, I'm a please time. Would you please go to this place? We need to know that this is how our culture is. This is what our work entails, and this is what we need to do. So we are always running. Other than that, business will just collapse every time in Ghana. Here, we will not have work for people to do, even if they complete their school or education or something like that.
Yeah, yeah. I think you're right. Building capacity is very, very
It's very
important.
important.
So looking at the projects that you've run in other communities as well. So just to also ask, so which projects have you successfully been able to build, or you've been able to incorporate it in the sustainability principles? Maybe which region, what skill did you empower the people with? And the people that you empowered, are they lots of females, males? Like, how has it been? I want a successful.
All right, so we have done tons of projects which are successful now, and we currently have presence in the Ashanti region, Greater Accra, Eastern, Central, Western region, and the Bono region as well. And so I want to talk about our education program. Okay, so we run a mentorship program in school, mentorship and coaching. Except that what happens is that we bring volunteers from different walks of life, from the mining, from the marketing, banking, and all the industries, to go to schools to engage them in activities, to help them to set goals for themselves, to find ways and means to manage their time, to manage peer pressure and all that. And once these volunteers get to the school, they are there for about 2 hours or even sometimes less, and they leave. The question is, how do we ensure that information they relate to them is kept and worked on? So we say, okay, so the best way out is to train the teachers. The teachers who engage them every time in the classrooms, we train them so at least they're able to learn this into their classroom lessons. And then we also print handouts for them that they can keep and read every time they need information. We keep their numbers and then we call them every time to follow up on what is really happening in their life. So at least if there's any issue, they're able to help them resolve it as soon as possible. We also believe that children should be able to read because that is the foundation. Once I'm able to read and write, I can do well in my academics. And so what do? We go in there with volunteers to read with the children. But the question is, if I read with you and I leave you with no books, how then can you sustain your reading culture? So we ensure that every child that we engage in schools in reading activities, we open doors for them to have access to reading books at all times. So in school, also of school, we have these centers that we are establishing communities that we work in, where we have a lot of books in there. There are also a lot of games that are in line with their learnings as well. So at least even if they're in school, they will have books that they can use to read if they are home to the same way. So at least we know that even if I'm not in there, the child has been motivated enough for him or her to know that I have to read at all times. And they also have books that they can read. And every time we also go in there to add on to what we're given to them as well. And just 2 years ago, we engaged in the tree plant exercise. So for what we do is that tree plant is very important, that I have to plant trees. But the question is, if I plant trees, how do I nurture them? Because I may leave Accra to go and plant trees in Kumasi, and I come back to Accra. How would the trees be nurtured? So what we did was that we'll not just plant trees anywhere or anyhow, but rather focus on where we plant our trees or our seedlings. So we focus on schools. The schools, once we go in there to plant the seedlings in the schools, then we also set up a club, an environmental club. So these club members will be in charge of nurturing the seedlings. So every day or periodically they fetch for something in school to water the seedlings that have been planted. And so it is now their project to ensure that the seedlings that we plant in their schools are very well nurtured. So after I plant with them, once I get them to plant the seedlings in the schools, I leave them and I'm assured that once they are part of the planning and they also understand why we need to plant trees in schools, they'll do their best to nurture them. Just this year for our planting of trees, we engaged some farmers in the community. So we went to a community in Kwabo, so it's still region. So we had a meeting with the farmers. Okay, so we are greening Ghana and you are farmers. What can we do to collaborate to ensure that we plant seedlings that will benefit you, your community, plus the nation as well? So they gave us their farmland. And what we did was that instead of planting beautification trees, we planted food trees. So we have the pear, we have the mangoes, we have the oranges and everything planted on their family land. So they go to farm every time. So once they are on their farmland, they are able to water the seedlings and also prune them. Then when they harvest, they donate parts of the harvest to the community. So at least the women who are not really working or doing anything, they get the seedlings for free. They sell, get someone to take care of their family. So though we are planting trees to preserve the environment, we're also using that as a way to build some economic empowerment for the community. So at least people can earn some money from just planting trees on people's farmland. So everything that we do, as we are starting with the plan, and we ensure that we also have an exit plan so that even if we don't get funds to do more on that project, we know that the community has been built enough for them to carry it for us and benefit them as well.
Interesting. Interesting. It takes me back to when we also did some tree planting somewhere. We thought about it. And instead of planting neem trees and all these trees, let's do fruit trees. So I think it's
Yeah.
also another way to go when it comes to the tree planting activities to help climate change as well. So in running some of this projects, like the entire project, what has been a challenge? What has been one of the key challenges in
All right. So you see, sometimes communities have their own issues, chieftaincy and other things. So sometimes going to a community to talk to the right leaders is a challenge because you could go to a community and then they have their disputes running around. So as an NGO, we do our best to ensure that at least we engage them separately to take their feedback. And then once we are able to get their buy-in, and then we find someone who is a neutral person who understands the community and who can be of help to us, and then we work with that person. Sometimes, so you go to a community and their culture is that they are lazy. All they want is handouts. So what they're looking for is for you to come to them, like, oh, we are here. These are food stuff. Take, go and prepare food and eat, or money, But when that happens, you're not really doing yourself any good. So we really, when that happens, we spend almost 40% of the project timeline to really ensure that we collaborate with them. We mobilize everyone on board. So at least we are all having the same goal. We are all having the same mindset to run the program. Because if you don't really overcome that challenge and you assume that you just expect them to move on with the project, you may end up failing. So, and once the environment is not conducive for your project, you would fail. So it is better for you to ensure that the community understands why you are there. They also understand that there's a need for them to be supported. They know that you're only there to empower them. That is to empower them to do what their community needs and not to give them handouts. Because if you focus on supporting them, that they'll always be there waiting for you to come and support them. But once you empower them, what you do is that you build their skills, you build a capacity to be able to resolve their own issues. So they know that okay, so this community needed a washroom facility, and we came on board. We created jobs for them so that they can earn some money. Then through their earnings, they are not able to build their own washroom. So it is sort of like you are empowering them to solve their own issues. But if you see yourself as someone who is always going there to solve their issues for them, you may not really have the right impact. And with time, you will be tired and frustrated. You end up leaving them without doing anything for them. But once you have that mindset that, okay, no, I can't do it by myself. I need the collaborative efforts of the community leaders and the stakeholders to ensure that we are all on the same page of what to do. That we all do our work based on our responsibilities to ensure that we get the common good for all. That makes your work easier for you. And when it's a challenge, don't try to overlook it. You have to look at the situation, the challenge that you are faced with, and find the best way out of it. Other than that, if you don't resolve it, to come back to you at the exit plan, at the exit stage, and not at the beginning stage of your work.
interesting. But I'm just wondering if the community, the people in there are lazy, how are you able to um
So
you
change their
know
mindset.
yeah.
Okay. All right. So someone could be lazy for a reason. Because and what I've realized is that it's not everybody who is lazy because they will be lazy because of an issue that they are faced with, or they are lazy because they think there's no hope for them. So once we go in there is to work on their mindset, the way they think. That don't think that it is all about for you. There's hope for you. Once you know that even if I'm 40 years and I'm not working now and I'm really relying on my friends to feed me or to take care of me, I can still make a change once my mind is set. So we go in there to reset their way of thinking. And don't see yourself as a failure. See yourself as someone who is at a crossroad. And once you get the right guidance, can be able to overcome that situation. So we go in there with people who have also gone through same situation. So they share their stories with them. That okay, I was once like you. I didn't know I could be who I am today. But because I was able to reset the way I think and do things, and I took the opportunity to better my life, that's where I am now. And for all our work that we do, you don't pay for anything. We give everything for you for free. So this is something that once you are able to embrace and take opportunity and then take advantage of this opportunity, then you can also change your lifestyle. But if you think that okay, where I am now, I'm dead and nothing will happen to me again, then that means that you are already failing. So we work on their mindset first because if they don't really have a good mindset, you can pour everything on them and you end up losing at the end of the day. So it's the mindset that is the key that I work on.
Great. So the mindset, does it have to do with age as well? Like what age brackets do you?
All right. So our mantra is that we just have a Ghana creates opportunities for every individual to improve the quality of their lives. So we don't really have age brackets, but we believe that below 18 years, you have to be in school. So if you're below 18 years, you surely need to be in school to learn. But if you are above 18 years and you are willing, we look at your willingness. Are you willing to be part of this program? And do you have an interest in that? Because if I come and maybe you have an interest in, let's say, painting, artworks and all that, and I come and then I impose baking on you, and no, I need to learn how to bake. And if you bake, you can do. I can invest my money into you with that skill. But because that is not what your interest is in, you start today, and then by 3 or 4 months, then you stop. And once I'm able to get what your interest is, and I'm able to also give you the skills that you need, I believe that you'll be able to come out of that as well. Like entertainment plus
Interesting.
interest. That's what we work with.
Yeah. So Faustina, we're about to end the show. So can you
Oh,
tell us, as a woman, okay, how have you been able to thrive? How have you been able to get to the space you are? What's have been your key lessons? And what advice do you have for younger ones?
all right. So, as a woman, what I have learned on my journey, or learned on my career journey, is that you don't have to keep quiet because sometimes you may be in a room and the idea that you have could be the best solution to an issue, but because you may think that, no, 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 let me just be silent, let me just keep quiet, you may end up losing your voice. So even if your voice is very faint, every idea that you have in your mind in the meeting, just bring it out. And if it is wrong, you correct it. If it is right, you cheer on. So don't keep quiet. At every table that you are called to sit on, you are given a seat because you deserve to be there. So once you are there, don't keep quiet. Ask questions and share your ideas. And once you do that, this is the thing. The more you speak and the more you also listen, the more you build your confidence up. But if you're always quiet and just not saying anything, you may end up losing your identity. So you have to speak up at all times. And you also have to be very attentive, be observant, listen very well, observe things. And for every meeting or everywhere that you go to, you have to have a purpose for yourself or an objective. If you could go to a party and okay, so I'm going to the party to network. In the networking, I need these people in my life. Because I believe that this is my goal in the next 2 or 3 years. And once I have these people in my life, they can guide me to success. So at least once you get in there, you have to observe your environment and then see who can I speak to be of help to me in my career or in whatever journey that you are on. And so you have to be very intentional. Don't let things just happen in your life. Because once you let things happen in your life anyhow, you may end up losing your focus. And once your focus is lost, that means that you will not do anything else. So just be focused in life, be intentional about things you do, and always speak up. Let your voice be heard, and that will take you far as a leader in the industry.
I'm Really happy to hear this. She says, "Let your voice be heard." That's why
Yeah,
we have this platform for women to be able to amplify their voices, and I think that's the way to go. So we shouldn't keep quiet. The
no,
more we speak, the more we build our confidence,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Great. It's been an interesting conversation with Faustina Abbey. If you're just joining us, we're having a Women in Sustainability story series, and our supporting partners have been 10 billion strong, who is a leading development organization focused on environmental sustainability. We have Wiki Updates, and they are currently hosting us on Zoom. It's a podcast. And if you want to know more about what's happening within the Wikimedia ecosystem, kindly just Google them and you get more information. We have Wiki Green Initiative. They are organizers for the Wiki Green conference and it'll be coming up next year. So you may want to watch out for that. If you haven't followed us on social media, please go to Facebook. You'll find us on LinkedIn and on X as Women for Sustainability Africa and on TikTok as well. You may also want to join our WhatsApp group for more information. If you want to support us in any way, you can just get in touch with us on all our social media handles as Women for Sustainability Africa, and we will be glad to respond and partner with you. Faustina, it's really been a very educative program today and learning about how to build sustainable cities. I'm sure we don't have the mindset of, I mean, it's a building construction, even though we need capacity to be able to do that. It's about empowering the people within in the city. It's about building skills for people to be able to have a livelihood. And that is, it's about sustainable cities. And I'm happy we've had you today because I believe there are still a lot of opportunities out there that we haven't been able to tap into it. I mean, the fact that knowing that you said when you empower a woman, she's able to sustain it, right, Faustina?
Yes, yeah,
Yeah, according to this
Yeah,
yeah.
one.
and they're able to multiply, right? Would you want to just hit on that for us
All
again so
right.
that I mean we can push ourselves to do more?
Okay, so this what happens. Basically, as a woman who manage their homes. So once the woman understands that, okay, so this was what I do, my children will be able to do well in their whatever they do, and they are able to have some like gaining power financially. They build their confidence up, and they're able to support their families in so many ways, and they're also able to sustain their families as well. Because a working woman who is able to earn some money is a better woman who is able to support their families to some ability. So I believe that every woman should have a skill or some power financially that they can also support their families and their children as well. So women play key roles in family sustainability.
That's a good one there. So I'll say a very big thank you to you. We'll be in touch with you after the show. It's been great having Faustina Abbey on Women in Sustainability Stories. Faustina, thank you very much. And I want to say a very big thank you to our supporting partners again. We have 10 billion Ghana Hub, we have Wiki Update, we have Wiki Green Initiative, and if you want to follow us, just follow us on Women for Sustainability Africa on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on X, and join us on our WhatsApp page as well for more details. Thank you all so much for joining today's series. And this is our last series for 2023. We hope to see you all in 2024 and kindly expect more from Women in Sustainability Stories. Thank you very much and have a good evening.